Hello, it's Kurt Harris again with the Men's Family Court column. Today I want to talk about mediation. Mediation of child custody matters, how we divvy up and divide our timeshare with our children. In Clark County, Nevada, which is where Las Vegas is located, mediation is mandatory for all child custody cases. And I say virtually mandatory. There are a few exceptions, but very limited. So everyone has the opportunity to go to mediation. Usually you're referred to mediation initially when you file your complaint for custody or your complaint for divorce, or you have to request it by way of a motion or some other means. If you make that request for mediation, the court will refer you to a location called the Family Mediation Center. It's also known as FMC. So if you hear the FMC thrown around, it's the Family Mediation Center. And you're referred there. And they will contact you or you will contact them and you will go through a mediation process. The mediation process is generally a back and forth regarding the timeshare of your children. Nothing else is discussed at the Family Mediation Center at that time. Just timeshare, just custody, holidays, your other visitation, and how that's going to be divided and separated. There are many forms of what that timeshare might look like, but you go through that process at mediation. I have many clients come back to me and say they felt like they got railroaded. I got pushed into something, I didn't want to do it. And I get a little frustrated with that because we're grown men and we ought to be able to determine our own destiny. So don't allow someone to push you into some agreement that you don't think is in the best interest of your children. You just shouldn't do that. If you feel like you're being railroaded, you have the ability to walk away and break off mediation. The mediator is there specifically to get an agreement. The mediators are very good at what they do. They're very experienced and they've seen many, many cases and many, many individuals, and they have the ability to get you to come to the table to reach some sort of an agreement. Remember, the mediator doesn't care if the agreement is good or bad. The mediator is there to get you to mediate an agreement. So if you feel like you're being pushed into something or that you don't feel comfortable with a certain mediation agreement, don't sign it. You don't have to. It's voluntary for you to be there, compulsory voluntary to some degree. You have to be there because the court said you have to be there, but you don't have to agree. And so don't let a mediator push a bad agreement down your throat, an agreement that's not good for you or that's not good for your kids. So it is important that you remember and realize that mediation is there to benefit you and to benefit your children. If you don't feel comfortable with the agreement, don't sign it. You don't have to. In addition to that, when you go to mediations, you should go very prepared. Bring your schedule of work or other schedules and be very well versed on your calendar and certain dates and times that you would like to have your children. That is very important. So it's very important to go to mediation very prepared and not to just show up and say, I want more time with my kids. That's the worst thing a mediator ever wants to hear. They never want to hear that. I just want to spend more time with my kids. They want to know the specifics. How do you want to spend more time with your kids? What days do you want to spend with your kids? What times do you want to pick them up? What times do you want them to be picked up? And why is this in their best interest? And how does this fit their needs and their benefits and their education? You need to be prepared to answer all those questions to have a very successful mediation. If you go to mediation very prepared, the mediator will like you and they will be more inclined to try and shape that agreement to meet yours and your children's needs. Once again, this is Kurt Harris with the Men's Family Court column, and thank you for your time today.